Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on the Ansys newest release. My name is Tisa Sitar. I'm a marketing officer at Infinite Simulation Systems and the moderator of this webinar. First, I would kindly ask everyone to wait for 1 or 2 more minutes so the others can also join, and then we will continue. Okay. Before we start, I would like to share some additional information with you. Please know that the webinar is being recorded and the recording will be shared with you afterward. As you can see on your screen, you have a small interface where you can change some settings as minimizing or maximizing the menu, putting it on the full screen mode, and choosing the audio. I want to emphasize that during the presentation, all the attendees will be muted, and at this time we will not have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar. The reason for this is the fact that we are organizing 2 update events in April, where we'll dive deeper into the topics presented during this webinar, and where you also have an opportunity to have a discussion with our experts or ask any question regarding the newest release. So in case you haven't registered already, you can scan the QR codes you see on your screen, and I highly recommend to do so as soon as possible because the spots we are having are limited. So today I'm joined by my colleague Adrian, our technology manager, who will tell you more about the most interesting advancements introduced in the Ansys newest release. So Adrian, the word is yours.
Thank you, Tisa. You confirm you hear me and see my screen?
Yes.
All right. All right. First of all, don't worry if you didn't have the time to scan the QR code. I will show it at the end of the webinar, so that you have a second chance to scan it. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here and giving us a little bit of your time. I only have a limited time, and I want to show and present you some of the highlights in the new release 25R1, which is available for download on the Ansys customer portal. There we go. So today I will try to cover some of the main highlights across the product portfolio. That's a tough task, so I try to select some of the relevant topics. And as Tisa mentioned, we will go into more detail into all of these topics during our live events in April. Just kind of as a first general introductory slide, I picked this one to also show you that across all the different products, we see that the improvements are actually aligned with, let's say, the technology strategy of Ansys, also on the long term. So always a big focus on the core physics technology, all the solvers we're all using, always trying to improve those solvers, more accuracy, more scalability, more features that are also requested by our customers, trying to implement it in the software. AI has been playing a big role, and we see that translated into the Ansys product portfolio with some embedded AI capabilities into the tools, but also some dedicated AI products, which I will mention. Then also a lot of work has been done into integrating the different tools, which allows to create simulation workflows to address specific applications. Also in terms of cloud computing and computing in general, as models tend to become bigger or more complex, as you want to incorporate more complex physics phenomena or multiphysics. Solver scalability and solve times are actually quite important. So Ansys is putting a lot of effort into the scalability of the solvers, both on CPUs and on GPUs, but also the possibilities when you don't have the infrastructure in-house or the workstations to also upscale that to cloud computing solutions. And then last but not least, it's not only about the 3D physics solvers we all know, but also about system level analysis or safety analysis, for example. Also data management of simulation data or materials data is becoming quite important as we integrate those products into the full, digital thread of product development inside companies. So let's start with structures. So structures is this part of the portfolio. So zooming into it, these are, let's say, the main applications, the main solvers. And we see that in Ansys Mechanical, for example, there has been, again, quite some improvements in terms of contacts, nonlinear analysis, meshing capabilities. Ansys has also introduced a rotor dynamics module inside Ansys Mechanical, which is quite interesting, I think, for companies that are dealing with rotor dynamics applications, but also in terms of composites, thermal simulations, metal additive manufacturing with Ansys Additive. Some nice improvements over there. Also, Ansys Aqua for our offshore and dredging and shipbuilders that are using Aqua. Overall improvements in hydrodynamics, and I'll highlight one specific update there. Then our second, main solver, LS-DYNA for explicit simulations. Also, there are some nice improvements on battery modeling, material modeling, etc. Ansys Motion has also been further optimized, overall improvements, speed and integration within the Ansys Workbench mechanical interface. Ansys Sherlock for electronics reliability simulations has been improved with a big focus on thermal mechanical life prediction this year, and Ansys Sound for psychoacoustics improvements. So a few highlights. I could give 300 slides about Ansys Mechanical, so I only picked a few of them. Good to know is that there has been quite some nice improvements in terms of solver capabilities, scaling up with GPUs and CPUs. On NVH side, also some very nice improvements. I'll dive into that in a second. And as I mentioned, in terms of material modeling, with the latest edition of Polymer FEM and calibration to accurately predict material models. So the first topic was solver scalability. So Ansys Mechanical has been enhanced with some nice GPU acceleration capabilities, where you see that two models using the PCG solver can get almost 1.5 speed up when compared to 24R1. So this is actually quite exciting. There has been significant improvements in terms of NVH, so noise, vibration, and harshness simulations in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 years. And it's very nice to see that now with 25R1, there is really a complete solution, a complete workflow that is robust, that allows users to combine different aspects of the NVH, like electrical, mechanical, aero, for overall powertrain design, acoustic comfort inside the cabin, for example, taking into account the different sources of noise and vibrations, overall minimizing the vibrations, etc. For Aqua, just picked this one, but also here there are many more updates. But Aqua has some improvements, and one of them is this: the connection with LS-DYNA, which allows to do ship collision analysis. Also for the battery modeling and simulation, we have quite a strong, end-to-end solution from cell level or chemistry level, actually, all the way to the full battery pack. And then LS-DYNA has now been improved also to simulate abuse scenarios on battery cells. which can be interesting. Also in the domain of optimization, let's say non-parametric optimization. I think the parametric part is something else. That's something you can do within the tool. Some of you might be using the Workbench Design Explorer or OptiSlang for more advanced parametric optimization. But also in the field of non-parametric optimization, there has been nice improvements, not only 25R1, but over the last years, actually. Topology optimization has been there for quite some time, but we've seen some nice improvements also in morphing technologies like shape optimization and topography optimization for shells. So also this is an exciting, I think, a new update for mechanical. Moving to fluids, second big portion, this part of the portfolio. Also here we see very nice improvements in line with the different. Oh, I saw a black screen. You still see my screen, Tisa, right? Okay. So very nice improvements again on performance, solve times, some capabilities that were added across the different products. Let me start with Ansys Fluent, which is our main, CFD solver for general CFD applications. Good to know on the GPU side, I will start first. Good to know is that there are new physics supported by the GPU solver. The GPU solver was introduced a few years ago, and as we evolve into time, every release brings up new types of physics that are supported. So if you want to scale up your simulations, or let's say reduce your solve times by leveraging a GPU, this is something that can now be done with the list you can see over here. So for instance, multi-phase VOF and DPM, for example. Also on the Python side with PyAnsys, and here specifically PyFluent, allows you to automate workflows, do customization tasks using Python. So also there are some nice developments, and overall solver improvements also for reducing the memory consumption. Okay. Some overall GUI performance also. So the GUI performance is now faster, and some improved graphics also for large surfaces. And also the Fluent web interface for customers that want to do full remote sessions. Also a nice improvement. So I talked about the GPU, but also on the CPU side, there is now the possibility to use the brand new cloud solution from Ansys, which is Ansys Cloud Burst Compute. I will come back to that later in the presentation. Overall, some new improvements in the field of aerospace and electrochemistry in Fluent, and some optimization enhancements. And also on the meshing side, strong meshing improvements, like for instance, the watertight meshing workflow and the fault-tolerant meshing workflow have also received some updates. For our customers that are using, that are working in the field of turbo machinery, like pumps and compressors, etc., that are mainly using CFX and the turbo tools, good to know is that Blade Builder is a new tool inside Ansys Discovery, which can help you to create a CAD from an NDF geometry description. Since 25R1, this is also integrated within Workbench, allow you to do the full workflow for turbo machinery. And good to know is that this product uses the Blade Modeler license. So if you have a Blade Modeler license, you can use this tool. For CFX, also some nice updates. I picked this one. One of the updates is quite significant speed up for harmonic analysis. And I've heard from some customers that they've been looking out for this. So this is also good to share. There has been strong advancements also in our DEM solution, Ansys Rocky, mostly for handling particle simulations. There are also now possibilities to couple Ansys Rocky for multiphysics workflow. So Ansys Fluent and Ansys Mechanical, that was already the case. You can couple those with Ansys Rocky. You can now also do that for electromagnetics and multibody dynamics. Continuing in the line of Ansys Rocky, this is still a beta, but is already introduced as a new product. It's called Ansys FreeFlow, and this is a product that is an SPH solution, so smooth particle hydrodynamics, which allows you to perform simulations on free surface flows. And just like Ansys Rocky, this solution is GPU-based solver, and you see some of the applications that you could tackle with this. Moving into electronics, so this is this part of the portfolio here. So we tend to always split this portfolio into low and high frequency applications. On the low frequency side, we are talking about MotorCAD and Maxwell mostly. On the high frequency side, mostly HFSS, SI Wave, Q3D, for those of you who are using that. And maybe good to mention is that the overall focus for Ansys this year in this area is really in the domain of electrothermal and reliability, which is good to know. If you are dealing with such kind of applications, you can expect nice improvements in this area. So let's start with the low frequency part. So first, MotorCAD and Maxwell for electric machines. Very nice to mention, and I know some customers have been waiting a long time for this, is that a new axial flux machine template has been introduced in MotorCAD. So no longer only radial flux, also axial flux machines can be handled inside MotorCAD. And there has been some improvements also in the workflow to connect MotorCAD with Maxwell for voltage excited models, for example. Overall, some improved accuracy also in the solvers for thermal simulations and for NVH simulations. Maxwell is not only used for electric machines, of course, it's used as a wide EM solver for any kind of EM applications like consumer electronics or power electronics. So also here we see some improvements in the solver, the frequency domain solver, and the overall performance of Maxwell, again, scalability, memory consumption, etc. For our electronics cooling applications, so that's IcePack, which is actually leveraging our CFD solver in the background. Also here, some nice improvements in workflow and overall user experience in IcePack. Some enhanced meshing capabilities as well, and system level thermal integrity simulations can be done. And good to know is that IcePack connects very well with the other solvers through the Ansys Electronics desktop. For our high frequency, I will, for the sake of time for the sake of time, I chose to only cover HFSS here. So HFSS, as some of you know, is as a high frequency solver. So for high frequency applications, think megahertz, gigahertz. Also here, enhanced mesh capabilities with mesh fusion and 3D component array enhancements. There are also some nice improvements on the other topics like SI Wave and Q3D. And I will show you later on where you can also find all this more detailed information. I mentioned it already. This is a big focus for Ansys, overall electronics reliability simulation. So how to make sure that your electronics designs ranging from yeah, a very small electronic component to a PCB to a full electronics assembly can be designed in a reliable way, where typically you would, put something on a vibrating plate or in a thermal chamber to do some testing. This is something that can be done completely virtually. And here you see all the different domains of how the workflow can look like, to include thermal cycling, for example, vibrations, lifetime expectancy, and statistical analysis, and how Ansys Sherlock can be used for that, also in combination with some of the other tools like mechanical, like iSpec. Okay. Moving into the next portion is 3D design, and with 3D design we don't mean CAD, of course. Our focus is not to provide a full CAD solution, but is always offering a 3D solution that helps you to prepare your models for the simulation. So this is Ansys Discovery. And I know many of you are using SpaceClaim or Design Modeler, so no changes here. The Discovery license still gives you access to SpaceClaim and Design Modeler, but it's good to know that moving forward, the focus is really on Discovery. And as I mentioned, you can still access Design Modeler and SpaceClaim. So for model preparation for simulation, so the middle part here on the slide, there has been, very good improvements over the last years in Ansys Discovery. I think Ansys Discovery today is really not comparable anymore with Ansys Discovery of 5 years ago, or I don't remember exactly when it was introduced. There has been in the new release some good improvements on defeaturing. Also, import times have been improved when you try to load in large assemblies. And in Discovery, as some of you may know, you can also do some early stage design simulations, and leverage actually the structural solver or the fluid solver. And now you can also do electronics cooling, topology optimization, and some design exploration. So this is really for, let's say, early stage design when you're not yet into the flagship solvers like mechanical, fluent, etc. Next portion on optics and photonics, which is a topic that has been gaining quite some attention in the last years, especially in our area in Belgium and the Netherlands, Luxembourg. So from, let's say, nanoscale photonics with Lumerical to optical design with Zemax to full system optical simulation with Speos. I'll start with Lumerical. Some highlights, or I think the main highlights good to share here are the improvements on the GPU solver. So just like Fluent, which I shared earlier, Lumerical has also a GPU solver, which is really massively improving solve times. So for those of you who are using Lumerical and you have a GPU available, that might be something to look into. The user interface has also been improved, and in a way that is also more consistent with the other Ansys products. So if you are using several Ansys products, you should start to feel more and more that same look and feel across the different products. On Zemax, Zemax has been enhanced in its embedded multiphysics capabilities. So for example, if you want to include mechanical stress on your optical components, there has been some improvements in that so-called STAR module, for those who are familiar with it. Also some improvements on tolerancing when you are designing for manufacturing your optical components. And on the visual side, dark theme has also been introduced. That was a request from many customers to reduce eye strain, basically when you are in low light conditions. And then the third product of the optics and photonics family is Speos, and Speos new capability, AXF, which stands for Appearance Exchange Format. basically allows for a better realistic view of the product when you're using textured materials. So that allows you to really have this, really realistic rendering, if I can say so. But as opposed to a normal rendering tool, this Speos is based on the actual optical properties of the material. So this is also a nice improvement. Similar to other products, some advancement in Python scripting with Ansys, and in this case more specifically Speos, to build workflows, customize simulations. There is a great GitHub page, by the way, where you can go into and look at scripts that are shared by other companies using it, or find some models or some guidelines on how to use that. And then third one worth mentioning is the optical lens design, which was improved with the possibility to define TIR lenses, so total internal reflection lenses. Also a nice improvement in Speos. Next portion is safety and cybersecurity analysis. So this is mostly Ansys Medini, and also a relatively new product, Digital Safety Manager. So in Medini, there have been some improvements on FMEA, also some improvements on hardware library management and faster updates for FMEAs and FMEDAs. And then, as I mentioned, relatively new product, Digital Safety Manager, which is a great tool for functional safety managers that want to keep track of all the ongoing functional safety projects. Reporting status allows users to work together in the environment. So this should help with the managing of the data and the managing of the projects overall. Next part is digital twin. So Twin Builder and Twin AI, which is not specifically mentioned on the slide here, I see. So here, of course, there are a lot of definitions for digital twin. We talk mostly about simulation digital twins, and more specifically, hybrid digital twins, where we base ourselves on the physics data and the simulation data, but also the sensor data we're getting from the asset in the field to build our digital twin. So some nice improvements in the overall digital twin offering, which combine both of them, which allows, for instance, for asset management, predictive maintenance, these kind of applications. So just to highlight one, there is some improvements on scriptable Python interface for ROMs, for reduced order models, and also on the libraries which are used for system level analysis, some extended Modelica libraries. So not only on the purely digital twin part with the data coming from the field, but also just setting up your system level analysis, system level model with reduced order modeling and with the use of 0D, 1D components coming off of libraries such as the Modelica libraries. Materials, one of my favorites. So here we're talking about materials, specifically materials data for simulation, but also smart material selections and materials data management with the Granta portfolio. So the materials data management part in Granta MI, that has already been there, but it has been further improved to really integrate with whatever CAD or PLM system you're using. So that, for instance, when you're using Creo or Windshield, you can access your materials data right away and make sure that everybody still is using the same materials data. And also that data can then be used to feed into the simulation models. And overall, the materials data have been updated. They are updated every time, every release, update on cost, for example. New materials are added, which allows you basically to make good material selections if you have a new design or you need to find an alternative material to your design or need to find another supplier. And also for the simulation specifically, allows you to use, for instance, temperature-dependent data to feed into the simulation in case you don't have the material data available in-house. Cloud, I mentioned it already a little bit. So this is this part. This is a brand new offering, brand new product. So we're quite excited about what this will bring. We know, I mean, Ansys Cloud has been there for a while. Ansys now introduce Ansys Cloud Burst Compute, which basically allows really seamless cloud computing experience right from the desktop application. So if you're using mechanical or fluent and you have some bigger models you need to solve and you don't have the hardware available, you can basically upload those models to be solved into the cloud to get your results faster, basically. Now, the Ansys Cloud strategy is not only just the solving part. There are also some cloud-based software applications, really products. Like for instance, Concept EV is a relatively new product which has been introduced for EV powertrain design. And then SimAI, which is also a cloud-based application for AI-driven simulations. Yeah, quite exciting. And moving into that AI offering, we've been receiving quite some questions about this. So maybe this slide is a good one to give you a bit of an overview of what's the AI strategy and offering of Ansys and the vision moving forward. So first of all, you have what we call Ansys AI Plus, which are basically AI capabilities which are plugged into the existing products. So there you see Structure AI Plus, Granta AI Plus, Electronics AI Plus, etc. So there is the existing tools that you're familiar with, like mechanical, like Granta, like OptiSlang, etc., Fluent, which are basically improved or complemented with some AI capabilities. One that maybe some of you are familiar with is the resource prediction tool in Ansys Mechanical, which has been introduced a few years ago and has been improved release after release, and also this release again, to basically allow you to have a good prediction upfront of what the simulation time will be based on data that has been collected. Then we also have the, let's say, really AI standalone products, so which are really meant as an AI product. So we have Twin AI on one side, so that's in the area of digital twins when you want to deploy those digital twins on the field. And then we have SimAI, which basically allows you to train a model based on all the data that you currently have, to basically feed that into a new design to come up with better designs faster and better. And then the third bucket here is Ansys GPT. And I hope most of you will say, yes, I know about this, but just know that if you have an active license, you can use it. So since last year, access to Ansys GPT has been rolled out to all our customers with active licenses, text or lead licenses. So I think if I click forward, it should play a video. Yeah, so just to show you, so you can find Ansys GPT on the Ansys Innovation Space. And you can ask your questions to Ansys GPT. It is based on all the online documentation and a lot of internal resources which Ansys has put into the model to train the model. So if you would ask ChatGPT or any other GPT engine, you will most probably get other answers which are just based on what's publicly available. In the first introduction, it was mostly for mechanical and for fluent, but as we go, the model is being trained to expand to the other physics and also to improve the level of answers on mechanical and fluent. Good to know is that for all our customers that have active licenses and are using Ansys GPT, is that your inputs and your queries are not used to train the model. And of course, this is not a replacement for your technical support, but if you have like quick questions or things you're wondering when using the software, that's a good resource to go to ask your questions. But of course, we don't aim to replace this or replace our technical support. You are still very welcome to call us or to email us with whatever question you have for technical support. So with that, I think it's almost 40 minutes, so I'm gonna wrap up. So I realized that this was a very high level helicopter view, and as you see that the product portfolio is wide, it's difficult to choose the relevant updates. So this was really meant to be as a highlights and a teaser to give you some of the updates. Tisa mentioned it. We are hosting our live update events at the beginning of April. We'll show the QR codes again in a second, where we will go into more detail about Ansys Mechanical, fluids, Rocky, Granta, digital twin, cloud, HPC, OptiSlang, AI. We try to make an agenda that is as relevant as possible for our customers in Benelux. But of course, if there are topics there that you miss or that you want to put a little bit more attention on, you can let us know. We can always organize a private session for you, or if there is a lot of demand on one specific topic, we can also maybe organize a separate event for that. For example, for electronics and optics, I expect this might be something we will need to take into a separate session. So if you think it would be valuable for you, feel free to give us a call, drop us an email, and we'll be happy to organize something. Some of you may know this, but I want to highlight it. If you log in on the Ansys customer portal, and I put the link here, you can go to the downloads section, and then what's new, and there you will find all the PDFs with the all the new releases, the new highlights, the new features in the software per product. So for instance, here, if you would click the Ansys Mechanical PDF, I think it's 300 pages, something like that. So there, it's always good to go through it and pick the features that might be relevant for your activities, for your workflow, and see how you can benefit from that. Now, if you're using the software already, or you have some new users, or you want to sharpen your skills a little bit, kind reminder, we do offer trainings. You can always go to our website to check the upcoming trainings. So I just highlighted here 2 trainings that are coming up in April and in May. So the first one is on dynamic simulations in Ansys Mechanical. There are still spots available. So if that's something of interest, you can let us know. And if you have new users, or if you are already a user but you want to get a bit of a refresher on the basics, there is also the introduction to Ansys Mechanical, which is scheduled soon. So with that, I want to wrap this up. These are the QR codes again. So 2nd of April in the Netherlands, Van der Valk Hotel in Houten, and 3rd of April in Belgium in the Let's Meet in Elewaet. And for our Belgian customers listening, I also had to Google where that is. But you are very welcome to come. It's free of charge. Our technical team will be there. We'll try to give you as relevant as possible presentations. We'll also have room for discussions, questions, networking. You can come and learn, network, talk with us, talk with other companies that are using the software. And yeah, if you would have any questions, as Tisa mentioned, we will not take questions now, but you can always come to the events with your questions, or you can drop us an email. Here I put our email addresses again. And with that, I want to thank you all for your attention. And I see the number of attendees has remained constant. So I hope that's a good sign. And with this, I'll give the word back to you, Tisa.
Thank you, Adrian. Again, thank you everyone for joining. We came at the end of this webinar. So I wish you all a great day ahead, and hopefully I see you in April. So goodbye.